we met in the spring of '93 as I was in post-production with Cliffhanger, and then we got to know each other, and I actually invited her to the first screening at Carolco of Cliffhanger. And I was very nervous because I was really thinking of her as this kind of a maker of character-driven artistic dramas, and I looked at myself kind of like I'm just this action guy. But I took the risk to bring her to that first screening with Mario. I was very nervous that she was going to think that I'm an idiot, but she loved the film and she was just mesmerized by it, and she was like, I want to do a movie like this. Then Mario had acquired a pirate movie called Cutthroat Island. Mario approached me and said, I want to do a real classic, like a 1940s Errol Flynn pirate movie. And I was like, that's awesome. It's like, that's every little boy's dream. And now we have to remember, we are years before Pirates of the Caribbean. So this was, nobody has done really something like this in decades.
And writing those millions of dollar checks for screenplays, this was the norm at that time. It wasn't a matter of development. It was a matter of, here, you have an idea, Shane Black. Here is $3 million. Here's $4 million, Joe Esterhaus. And it was a badge of honor to have paid big money for these scripts, even if they never got made.
Simultaneously, at the same time, completely coincidentally, when I talked about this to Geena, she said, well, Columbia has a project called Mistress of the Seas that they are interested in me starring in that Paul Verhoeven is doing. I was like, well, that's funny that we are together. We were engaged at that point to get married in the fall. So we would be both making a pirates movie, which is kind of funny.
Now, this was going to be the story of Anne Bonny, who became a pirate captain in her own right and was a freebooter and was just going wild all in all the coastal areas in Mallorca and all these places. Geena Davis, who was going to star in this film, and Paul Verhoeven was about as hot as anybody in the world as far as filmmakers go because of Basic Instinct, did not agree with his vision of the project. He wanted to do a real high-style, kind of erotic take on a pirate movie. Also, I'm sure, with his signature bloody violence.
It had turned from this hard-charging action pirate woman into this very erotic pirate story, which was Paul's style with Basic Instinct and some other movies. But Geena was very uncomfortable with that, and so she lost her passion about that project and felt like that's not the movie that I thought that I was going to do.
It had to be made. There was no out. There was no way to step back from the production at all, at least for Mario Kassar. So in order to keep things going, he was selling off distribution rights for some very high-end Carolco films, including Showgirls, and using that money to pour into the budget of Cutthroat Island.
So we set out to try to make it as good as possible and as strong as possible. We said we need a new writer. Keeping this in mind, you don't want to pay a big male star anymore. And since Michael Douglas has pulled out, there's no second choice. Nobody is going to say like, oh, well, I'll take that movie that Michael Douglas doesn't want to make and I'll make it in terms of big stars. So we knew that in a way, Geena had to carry it. So we had to write a very strong character for her.
I stand for captain. My father wished it. As he died, he gave me this. He left it for all of you.
That's his bloody scalp.
It's a map to Cutthroat Island. The buried treasure of a Spanish gold ship. More gold, jewels, and plunder than you've ever dreamed of.
Oh, what does it say?